What's going on, guys? JSGC here, and we're here for another Manchester City transfer update, discussing the latest ins and outs of Manchester City. We're going to crack on with this video. So first up, Manchester City have been in contact with Palmeiras, the club that they signed Gabriel Jesus from a couple of seasons ago, and they've been in contact in terms of Colombian attacker Ivan Angulo, 19 years old. He has just signed recently for Palmeiras, and so I imagine they're going to see how he does over in the Brazilian league for the next season or so before they go seriously in for him and inquire about him and ask for his availability. Palmeiras have said, according to Yahoo Sport in South America, that they won't consider selling him for the time being. That's their words, and so imagine if a serious offer comes in that they'll consider their options. Like with Gabriel Jesus, we might be signing another player from Palmeiras in the not too distant future. We'll keep an eye on that one. That might be one for maybe the summer for like a pre-contracted agreement to bring him in the next winter window, so that'll be 2020 January then, like we did Gabriel Jesus. We never know, but that's the first link in that we're getting with a new player. Next up, Pep's been in a press conference before the match with Huddersfield, been talking about Fernandinho, and he said that Manchester City have 3 or 4 targets in mind. I'm not too sure who they are. I imagine that one's going to be Frenkie De Jong. I imagine that the 2 lads from Lyon, so Aure, however you say his name, and Ndombele are 2 players. That's 3, so I'm not too sure who the 4th might be. It might be Declan Rice, who we've been linked with, or it might be someone new. I'm not too sure. But he said he's struggling to replace Fernandinho in the long term because Fernandinho's got so much quality about him. He's a versatile player. He's a player that can play in lots of different positions. He likes to pivot. He's a good passer of the ball. He's a good reader of play. He's a good tackler. He's good at making things happen. He's good at taking out opposition to snuff out threats of counter-attacks and taking yellow cards for the team. He sees things happening before they've even happened. He's a very visual person. He's an outstanding defensive midfielder and crucial to Manchester City. So it's crucial that we get this bit of transfer business right. That's why Man City are taking their time with this one. Pep also said, in terms of left-backs, not high on the priority list, but they're keeping their options open. I'm not expecting us to go for a left-back in this window unless we get some injuries or a setback with Benjamin Mendy and maybe Fabian Delph or someone picks up an injury, then maybe we will. But I'm not expecting it. Zinchenko will be staying in this window, so I'm not expecting us to dip into the market for any player. Like I said, injury pending with that one. But we might be looking at a left-back in the summer if the right player comes available for the right price. So as Manchester City always do in the transfer market, if the player of quality is available and Man City have got the money to spend and they're happy to pay or negotiate with the price, then they'll go in for them. If not, they'll move on. That's how we are. If the player wants to join Manchester City, then they'll have the option to join Manchester City. City have been linked with Schalke midfielder, 28-year-old defensive midfielder Sebastian Rudy. This was according to Alan Nixon on Twitter, not the most reliable source at all, but it wouldn't surprise me if Man City were looking at a cheap alternative. Seen Chelsea doing it. Gonzalo Higuain on loan. They're looking to sign him to help figure out their transfer problem up front, and so Manchester City might be looking to try and help their transfer problem with a defensive midfielder to try and pull us through to the summer. However, Sam Lee from Goal said that isn't the case. City won't be signing Rudy or anyone else for that matter this month. So there we go. But we're getting linked with some players, and so I find it quite interesting that we're getting linked with other defensive midfielders, which suggests to me that Man City are probably miles away in terms of Frenkie De Jong. And speaking of Frenkie De Jong, apparently he has met with Manchester City. He spoke to Manchester City. He's been shown around the football academy at Manchester City, as Man City were looking at their last attempt to try and persuade him to come and join Manchester City. Now, his dad, Frenkie De Jong's dad, wants him to join Barcelona. However, lots of sources have said this in the last transfer window. They're saying that the move to PSG is pretty much concrete and that's going to be sealed, but it's just not going to be announced. It hasn't been announced as of yet. Word is Man City are very calm about the situation. I imagine they're quite calm because they've got 3 or 4 targets in mind rather than they're thinking they're going to be signing Frenkie De Jong. But I don't expect Frenkie De Jong to become a Manchester City player. Now, last up in the ins is a player from Barcelona. Now, he plays for Barcelona Cadete A, which is like their youth team. They're targeting the 15-year-old Jorge Alastuey. Is that how you say his name? I don't know how you say his name, but 15-year-old midfielder. Jesus, Man City is starting them young, but after missing out on Eli Moriba, who's the other Barcelona youngster we got linked with in the last transfer update, we've missed out on him. He's going to sign a new deal at Barcelona. City are looking for another Barcelona graduate instead. Again, it's just come from Alan Nixon, not the most reliable, but it wouldn't surprise me if we are looking at a lot of potential from Spain and from Barcelona. We have good links with Barcelona, with Pep being here and some of our higher officials being from Barcelona too. So it wouldn't surprise me if we're looking at a couple of their youngsters. It's a youngster. We're going to be talking about Tom Dele-Bashiru. Now, Serie A club at Atalanta, apparently they've agreed a deal to sign him, and so he's going to be leaving Manchester City according to Sky Italia. 19-year-old midfielder. It didn't say if it was a January signing or a summer signing, and it didn't say if it was a permanent signing or a loan, but I presume that it's probably going to be a permanent deal. The details weren't very clear from Sky Italia, but Goal and BBC put some clarification and said that he wants to leave this month. He's out of contract in the summer, and so Manchester City will want to cash in. Apparently he's rejected a new deal at Manchester City. The values were miles apart. It's another young player demanding lots of money from Manchester City. Manchester City aren't getting the value for money and are willing to let him leave, and they'll want cash this month rather than letting him leave for free. But if that doesn't happen, he'll leave for free in the summer. Next up, Ed Francis of Manchester City has joined Wolves for an undisclosed fee. The defender, 19 years old, he had been out on loan at Almere City over in the Netherlands, and he has signed a 2.5-year deal at Wolves, and he's gone straight into their under-23 squad. So good luck on the move, Ed, and hope he cracks it over at Wolves. I'm not too sure if he's going to make it at Wolves or whether it's a stepping stone for him, but he's more likely to probably make it at Wolves than he is at Manchester City. But I imagine if he's going into the under-23 team, he's going to try and work hard to try and get in towards Wolves' 25-man squad for the Premier League eventually. Wolves won't be getting relegated this season, and they've got stepping stones there to try and cement Premier League football for the foreseeable future. So maybe Ed Francis might be part of that. Like I said, good luck on the move, Ed. Now next up, ridiculous one this. Bernardo Silva has been attracting interest from Real Madrid according to the Mirror, and because of this, Manchester City want to tie Bernardo Silva to a new long-term deal, which doesn't surprise me. But I rest assured, like I said in lots of other updates, Manchester City don't sell their best players. De Bruyne getting linked with moves to Real Madrid, Bernardo Silva getting moved linked to Real Madrid. Man City don't sell their best players. It's as simple as that. And if they did want to sign these players and unsettle them, they'd have to pay extraordinary amounts of money. Man City have a lot of money that can more than compete financially with Real Madrid, and so there is a reason why the Spanish clubs don't really come to the Premier League for players. They'll get priced out of moves, they won't be able to compete with the spending, and if they did, it's going to cost them a lot of money, and so they'll be looking for superstars rather than Bernardo Silva. I'm talking players like Neymar that they've been linked with, rather than and Mbappe, rather than Bernardo Silva. And to be honest, I'd rather have the hard-working Bernardo Silva working for Man City's team rather than egos on the wing. But that's a diss at Neymar rather than Mbappe. I'd love to have Mbappe at City. I won't like to see Neymar, but that's just my opinion. Now next up, last bit of news, contract news. Manchester City have opened up contract talks with Matt Smith, the Welsh midfielder who's currently out on loan at FC Twente and doing very well. He's been linked with moves to the Bundesliga. Again, another one, but Manchester City want to get him tied down to a new contract because, well, he's got good prospects. Like I said, he's doing well in the Eredivisie, and he's getting interest now from Germany because of this. So City trying to keep hold of the youngsters, the ones that are doing well. So we've got a challenge on our hands there. So hopefully we'll have some developments on that in the coming days. So there we go. That's been the transfer update. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget, leave a big thumbs up and make sure that you subscribe. Put your push notifications on. Press the bell to be notified when I have uploaded. To make sure you stay in the loop with all things Manchester City, all things football, and all things Manchester City transfer news from now and throughout the rest of the January transfer window. So don't forget, let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll see you all again for the next Manchester City video. I'll have another update for the transfers up later in the week, or if we have any more serious developments, I'll have one up earlier, so stay tuned for that one. We'll have the preview up for the Burton game tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, and I'll see you all again for the next video. So it's been JSGC. I hope you'll have a wonderful rest of your day. Peace. Ciao for now.